Dan, do you know who we are?
I do.
We are media fucker. Woo! Men online.
Jeremy, you look as nervous as a long-tailed cat in a room full of rocking chairs. Anyone ever tell you that? On today's episode, Bullet Train, 2022, and X-Men, the animated series, 1992. There is a big difference between these two.
They both have they have some similarities too. They both have characters that are unusually durable.
Yep.
Very flamboyant dressing. Disrespect of the rules of physics.
Two characters that could manually punch their way through the side of a bullet train. Yeah, that's the thing. I thought we were at some.
Which bullet train character can punch through a train?
Aaron Taylor Johnson, aka Tangerine. He punched his way. He gets kicked out of the train by Brad Pitt, and then he jumps on the back and proceeds to punch his way through the. It's not a window. It's like bulletproof glass, and he's just pounding his way through the back of it to get back on the train. It's like,
I felt like the glass was like windshield glass, like made to be able to break for if you got to get out.
I guess. I don't think it could anyone punch through windshield glass? Because anytime that thing breaks, it all comes off in one piece. I guess if you were going to get a running start, jump and put 2 feet through it, you could probably punch a little hole. No, but that shit shatters.
The old Chuck Norris move.
Yeah.
Have you seen that scene with Chuck Norris where he kicks through a windshield?
No.
Man, it's classic Chuck Norris. I think it opens on just a news story about a boom snake. All of Japan is scared because they lost one snake, which is I've seen the news. It's probably a pretty realistic way to they handle something of that size. There are 600 million people around here and one snake. Let's make this the news of the day.
First, we see the father. He's at his son's bedside, and the grandfather, and the son. I don't know if he's in a coma or whatnot, but he was pushed off of a roof, and he's still alive, barely at this point. And the dad's scolding the son, like, where were you? Why didn't you protect him? I guess. But anyways, we'll move on. So Brad Pitt's character is talking to an unnamed woman at this point, who turns out at the end to be Sandra Bullock.
Wait, that was Sandra Bullock?
Yeah, at the end of the movie. Yeah, she's done a lot of plastic surgery. So
that was okay. I did not. Right. So the opening, I was kind of like, what are we talking about here? I guess the snake's gonna be here, and then this guy is this guy what the story's about? Kind of a little, I guess.
Yeah. So Brad Pitt he's an assassin, but he's kind of a pacifist assassin now, which doesn't really work. So he's on the phone with Sandra Bullock, and he's got one mission. It's to retrieve a case. What's in the case? We don't know. So he goes to a little storage locker, and his common theme is that he's unlucky. So his code name is Ladybug. At least he thinks he's unlucky. There's a story like towards the end that the dad tells, or the grandpa tells, where he's like, the ladybug isn't the lucky one. The people around the ladybug are. So,
which that doesn't apply because a whole bunch of people around him fucking died. Like, who in that movie has a better end of the day than him?
He's a reverse ladybug, really. He gets the luck and everyone else around him gets the bad luck.
Yeah, so. Everyone else fucking dies.
Oh, so Sandra Bullock, Ryan Reynolds. I don't know if you noticed him in there, but Deadpool / Green Lantern.
Yeah, this is the best Ryan Reynolds movie I've seen in a while.
Since Deadpool?
Yeah, since Deadpool 1 specifically, yes.
Yeah, and Charming Taint Man is in this as well. He's the guy that wants to have gay sex with Brad Pitt, I guess.
I thought I recognized him from somewhere.
Yeah, so what was funny is there's a movie called The Lost City. We never did this on here because I wouldn't have, subjected you to that. But my wife wanted to watch it, so we went and saw it. It's a movie about Charming Taint Man and Sandra Bullock going to the jungle. So she's a writer. He's the actor playing the character of her book, and they go into the jungle, and he's supposed to be the hero. But Brad Pitt is in that movie for about 10 minutes, and he's the best part of the movie. The funny thing is, I was talking to my buddy about it. Like, wouldn't that be awesome if Bullet Train was a prequel to this movie? Like, this was Brad Pitt's origin story, and the two other people that are in the Lost City show up. So it was pretty funny.
That's
It's a deep
cut
pull
right there.
Yeah, if you get a chance, just watch the Brad Pitt scene from that movie, because he's like a badass ex-military, but current like hippie guy, but he's still got all of his skills. It's fantastic. So he's easily blowing through all these people, just murdering everybody.
Yeah,
it's really fun. But anyways, back to this movie, which is very enjoyable. So there's a bunch of assassins on the same train, and seemingly all by coincidence. But we find out, at least at the end of the movie, they tied it all up, because in the beginning they do a lot of flashbacks, and this guy does this, and this is why you need to know this person. So it's all kind of reminded me of, like, you know, those old what the fuck is the name of that, Pulp Fiction or Reservoir Dogs or something like that, where there's a bunch of little stories going on. Sin City is one of my favorite movies.
Yeah.
And then they all tie together at the end. This is what this was, because in the beginning your brain's kind of, why did we see this? We'll get to that later, you know, that kind of thing. So
Sin Train.
Yeah.
I just realized when you were talking about how everything ties together. Sandra Bullock's character is a fucking disappointment. Like, her whole thing is like she runs the operation. Like, she's the voice, the person behind the computer. She didn't know that, like, the entire train was bought out by one mobster. How did she get tickets to a train that was bought out? How did she not notice, like, that, like, the train stations were strangely empty now? Like, I thought she was, like, on a computer, like, hacking into cameras and looking at people's FBI stuff. No. She's, like, crocheting and watching Netflix.
Oh, I thought that when he said he bought out the train, I thought he meant from that point on.
Okay, but that's not how train tickets work. You can buy a ticket before the train enters the station. Like you can buy a train ticket for next week or the week before or the week before. Well, after. You can't buy a train ticket for 2 weeks before next week.
Unless they're all sold out.
No, that's not. Yeah, right. But that means, how did she get a ticket?
Well, she got a ticket because the guy's whole plan was to get Brad Pitt. Yeah.
But how did she not, like, wouldn't you, like, look up the information on the train? Like, you can go online and, like, look at a plane, like, oh, it's flight 117 on American Airlines. Tickets are $200. Maybe click in there and see if the window seat's available, just to kind of get a feel for it. No, if you're like, I have this message from an anonymous person and a train ticket, there's no need for me to do any other investigative work. I'm just gonna tell Brad Pitt to stop worrying about everything. It's fine. Why are you asking so many fucking questions? Just turn on a podcast, go get the case. Is the mobster's whole plan was for him to get into the train? How did he know Brad Pitt wouldn't get off the train?
Good question.
He got stuck on there by coincidence, right?
Yeah, just because the wolf showed up at the right time. It's the only reason he was still on it past the second stop.
Yeah, that train's got like 90 doors on it. He could have gone any direction and not run into the wolf. And how did he know that guy couldn't just get past the wolf? For all we know, he could have just judo flipped the wolf and been like, oh man, that was scary, and just run away.
Then the movie would be called Escape from Tokyo instead of Bullet Train.
I am 1,000% down for a sequel where he has where the mobster has a nephew that's like trying to get him. Helicopters, full on Grand Theft Auto.
Oh, it's the Japanese version of Die Hard 3. Because in Die Hard 3, it's the brother of the guy he throws off the tower in Die Hard 1. And he makes him like go through Tokyo, him and his black friend. Oh, there you go, Lemon.
Yep.
We got a Sam Jackson substitute.
I'm sick of these motherfucking snakes on this motherfucking train.
My wife made that joke the second time I saw this. She's like, oh, snakes on a train. Son of a bitch.
Yeah, so the movie has, I feel like, too many coincidences to run them down. And the more I think about it, the more it falls apart. I spent the whole time wondering, like, why doesn't this mobster's son have any security in the hospital? Because, like, that bald, ominous guy sitting there just fucking staring at the kid. like some sort of combination between a cannibal or a Catholic priest. Like he's just fine there. Like no one's asking him, sir. Like there's no this hospital doesn't have enough security for a regular just to keep the pain meds away from junkies.
Right, and you think at the very least he would go into the room. The kid isn't waking up, so at least look like maybe you're a freaking relative.
Mhm.
But he's standing outside the door for 2 hours.
We find out at the end that there is security on that in the hospital, because when he goes to kill the kid, like he gets murked.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're guarding the grandson of a mobster, like you're not just gonna fucking like wait till the last second. I'm taking that guy down 3 blocks away if I can. I mean, he's not exactly being stealthy.
Yeah.
He's wearing a 3-piece suit in a hospital. How many people are doing that? Like.
And to set that up, the dad we talked about in the beginning, he is lured to the bullet train by saying, "I pushed your son off the roof. He received a note. I'm in seat whatever, E3." And he shows up and there's a little girl there. And of course he doesn't believe the little girl would have pushed her little boy off the roof. So she tases him and she tells him she has him set up because she has this whole elaborate plan.
I think it's more that he's like really surprised. Like if you like he might be looking like if it was like a Japanese girl, he might have stabbed her.
What?
What? I mean, why not? Like I mean maybe, and he'd be like, "Oh yes, the daughter of the mobster stab," but like he wasn't expecting a white chick.
Oh well, the daughter of the mobster. I mean, the mobster's white, so I don't know.
Yeah, but he didn't know which mobster was going about. The White Death is like reclusive, so he might not even know who that is. I mean, the name White is in there, so that kind of takes away from my argument.
Oh yeah, Lemon was all over that. I only counted 4 times where he, it's like, oh, this white boy is, I love little white girls when they cry or something like that. It's like,
How did you like Lemon's obsession with Thomas the Train?
I loved Lemon and Tangerine, except for the things I just mentioned. I did. Mm. I enjoyed their banter back and forth. Tangerine was my favorite character in the movie.
You think it would have been better if like Tangerine had been like, "Oh, I like little black girls." That'd been fine, right?
I don't think he would have done that. He's not obsessed.
I mean, he could be. That's,
I just watched a 2.5-hour movie where he wasn't, so I'm gonna go with no. And now he's dead. So, Lemon, the luckiest man on the planet, he's launched from a train going 200 miles an hour into a waist-high body of water and survives. So,
he also gets shot and like, didn't he say he wasn't wearing the vest?
Yeah.
And then he gets shot. And it's like, oh, but I was wearing the vest. I lied to Tangerine because I guess that's the banter.
I don't know about you, but the contents of the briefcase, which this whole thing is based around, was disappointing. I thought it was going to be something cool. I mean, money is cool, but I thought it was going to be some weird device or something, but it's just a pile of money.
Like a poison boxing glove, like on one of those little stretch out arms.
Yeah, or like some sort of documents to murder a politician or something, something.
So yeah, something that would like turn the story when you opened it up.
Yeah, exactly.
It seems like in this world, luck is like something that you can be measured and counted on. Like Princess, she's like, oh, I'm just really lucky, and like she comes back to the train as soon as the case opens up. I mean, no, yeah, because she has the guy who's being blackmailed over his son for no reason. Like trying to open the case by going through the numbers one by one, and she comes back to where he's trying to open it up as soon as it opens up. The fact she planned on it means it's not like Brad Pitt's character is like, bad luck when you see something happen, but she's got it like calculated.
Right.
Like she's in there like buying lottery tickets on the 4th of every month.
So I wanted to bring up the murder spree of Tangerine and Lemon, where they're arguing. They're sitting there with the mob boss's son, and they're arguing over how many people they've killed. So instead of them just kind of boringly, arguing back and forth, we get a flashback to where they're murdering everyone and counting.
Yeah, the flashbacks are not like an anime flashback where you see what happened.
Mhm.
It's like you see what's happening, but then the character who's doing the flashback is looking at the camera narrating. And now we have what I did on Tuesday.
The other scene that was prominently displayed in the trailer was the quiet car scene.
Yeah, I enjoyed that. Even though like punching should be louder than that lady's okay with. I did appreciate how she's just like, could you homos go murder each other somewhere else?
I'm gonna go tell the conductor. It's like he's got other shit to do than worry about your bullshit.
I mean, he doesn't seem to have anything else to do. He only has to keep track of 9 passengers on an entire train. He should have plenty of time to deal with anything and everything. What? It should. Like that guy's going. All he does is punch tickets, and like I'm pretty sure all the tickets could be counted on like 2 hands. But was the old woman an assassin?
The old woman, no. That's why I was saying, like, and especially.
How did she get a ticket?
Yeah, there's one point where there's a mascot on one of the middle cars, and it's doing all this mascot type shit when Brad Pitt's going through, and it tries to steal the briefcase. There's all people in that car, so I'm positive that maybe he, I don't know, he's got connections.
Yeah, maybe they were like paid actors. Like that's why she's doing that. He's like, okay, they're gonna get into a fight at 3:47 p.m. You're gonna shush 4 times. They're gonna mind your own business. Then you're gonna shush them one more time. Then you're gonna get out. And then she gets assassinated because she saw his mask.
And that guy that plays the wolf, apparently he's like a singer or something. I thought he was going to last way longer than he did, but he and Brad Pitt fight for a very brief time. He's avenging the massacre that happened at his wedding where everyone's bleeding out of their eyes and puking blood, which is delightful to see. But the way he dies, he walks like someone who thinks a badass would walk. He tries to walk so hard, because that's what someone who isn't badass thinks a badass person walks like. Going so hard, it was like, this is kind of embarrassing. But the way he dies is he throws a knife. Brad Pitt blocks it. Ricochets into him, and then as he falls, he breaks his neck on the case.
Yes, it's a little extra there. Yeah, so like the theme of the show is basically Brad Pitt is running into all these crazy coincidences, murdering people by accident because they're trying to kill him. I don't think he ever tries to kill anybody. He's like he's going out of his way. He's like Batman, but like it works out like it really would, where everyone dies even though you're not. Oh, I just wanted to throw him off the building by his neck. I didn't think he'd die.
Yeah, his whole gimmick is coincidences. Like the Hornet. The woman who thinks swearing is like the coolest thing says bitch about, I don't know, 14 times in her 3 minutes of screen time. But
oh yes, you mean John Kinkle Pinkton. It's basically like imagine if Jesse from Breaking Bad was trying to kill Brad Pitt, but he was a Japanese woman. And scene.
Yeah, and he only, instead of the 43-minute episode, he only had 6 minutes of screen time. So he has to compress all his bitches in that short of time. The Hornet dies because her whole gimmick is poisoning people, as we found out at the Wolf's wedding. She's trying to stab Brad Pitt while calling him a bitch with a syringe filled with the venom of that snake that Jeremy mentioned off the top. She drops the needle into Brad Pitt's hand or foot or something like that, and he ends up. Does he? Oh, he does kill her.
He picks it up and stabs her back.
Yeah, and plunges it in, and
But he's not trying to kill her though. He has the venom in him, so he wants to force her to pull out the antivenom. And then like she goes for it, he takes the antivenom. Fortunately, he doesn't get bluffed out. He goes like, what if she had like another needle? Mm-hmm. You could like, here you go, and then use the real antivenom while he's stabbing himself with more venom. But he gets lucky she doesn't have one of those. Right. I really like that scene where like he stabs her back. He's like, 30 seconds. What are you gonna do? And she's like sitting there like, shit, thinking. And then she goes for it.
She's sitting there like, bitch.
I guess I think she'll like, okay. She's like, okay, he stabbed me after I stabbed him. Can I wait until he dies? And then she's like, no, the venom doesn't work doesn't work like that. I gotta stab myself now with the anti-venom.
Yep.
And then he steals it.
Steals it, uses it himself. Then he's like, "Oh, you didn't bring 2 syringes. You got to be more prepared." As she dies slowly.
Most satisfying death in the movie, though.
Yeah. The girl getting hit by the truck is close. I'm not gonna say one way or the other.
Credit scene. That is an after credit scene. Before you went and watched it again and stayed and watched it because I told you about that.
Yeah.
Was that the most satisfying death in the movie? Yeah. See, that's why they made her like so obnoxious.
Oh no, she gets hit by the truck during the movie. They just show the other angle.
You're right. Yeah. Him driving the truck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't know who's driving it until the post-credit scene. I didn't know who was driving it until you told me there was a post-credit scene. And I don't know how I got out without seeing it because it happens quick. Like there isn't.
It's only like I
like
would
45 seconds.
Yeah, I usually don't stay because like they put them like so far in the end. I'm like, I'm not watching all this. I don't care how good the scene is.
Yeah, it's like it'll be like 2 minutes for the first one and then like 15 minutes for the second one. But this one was quick. I don't know how I didn't see it. There's a scene where Brad Pitt finds out what a bidet is. There's a lot of little shit like that where it's just there's another scene in the trailer that everyone saw where he and Aaron Taylor Johnson are fighting. He ends up getting a bottle of water, but what they don't show you in the trailer is that he asked Aaron Taylor Johnson, aka Tangerine, to pay for it before he uses it to hit him, which is way more badass.
Yeah. Looks like a $10 bottle of water, mate.
After Tangerine, my favorite character is the dad of the dad, the grandpa of the kid who's in the thing. He has a fucking samurai sword built into his cane. He's the fucking coolest old man ever. Yeah.
I mean, that's like the most classic like weapon ever, I feel like. The cane sword.
I've seen a cane sword the other way where you unscrew the top and it's like a regular not exactly a rapier, but whatever that's called. But it's like from the Avengers movie with not the Avengers, but a movie called Avengers with Uma Thurman, and I don't know how to explain it. You unscrew it and it's just like a skinny sword. But this came out from the bottom and it was a fucking full samurai sword. So cool.
Yeah, he keeps on putting it away when it's like still bloody. I'm like, how do you get blood out of the inside? Don't you have to clean the blade before you sheath it? Like it's gonna get stuck now.
Yeah. He's got a guy.
I mean, is it like a really long pipe cleaner?
Oh yeah, a toilet brush.
Does he make a new cane every time he like goes out?
Oh, that's a good point. That's what they use toilet brushes for, since they don't need them in Japan because they have the bidets. So he uses it to clean his sheath. The train is out of control. There's fighting going on everywhere. Aaron Taylor Johnson, aka Tangerine, has died accidentally. We don't know who pulled that trigger, but he and Brad Pitt are fighting over the gun, and he shoots himself, apparently. Brad Pitt needs to try and stop the train. How the fuck does he stop the train? I know it goes off the tracks, but how does he slow it down?
Oh, he smashes the console and then it stops.
Oh, yeah. So it goes off.
He got really lucky there.
It goes off the tracks and like crashes into a city. Doesn't really demolish any buildings, but they got a lot of work to do. By the way, this movie is extremely graphic, which it's so
rated
happy.
R, right?
Yeah, it has to be.
When's the last time we covered a rated R movie? I feel like Marvel has pushed out rated R movies.
Yeah.
Like we only have 3 action movies this year, and these are all for 12-year-olds. So the rated R movies are now only horror movies.
Yeah, I don't know.
Good old rated R action movies. I guess they were never super common though. Like everyone tries to go for PG-13 to get the teenager sales.
I don't think this movie would have worked if it was PG-13. Maybe it wouldn't work as well as it did, but
it would have had to go more cartoony with it.
Yeah.
Like borderline Kung Fu Hustle. The movie is not as funny as it thinks it is.
Yeah.
But the action's really good. The characters are a lot of fun. I had a lot of plot holes about it, which is, super unusual for me. But it was I had fun watching the movie from beginning to end. Yep. I had some popcorn, I had a soda, and I was just delighted. I don't know if it's like good in the way that the artistic films are or something like that, but it was a lot of fun to watch. and haven't had one of those in a while.
So definitely go and watch this movie if you want to just have a good time. That's going to be a common theme. It's a lot of fun. Possibly going to go see it one last time in theaters because I don't know. There's not a lot of movies coming out, and I like to get a good use out of my movie pass. So I might do one more.
Yeah,
but we'll see.
I'll say the movie spent a lot of time trying to be funny, and it was not that funny. So I have to mark it down a little bit for that. So I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10.
Okay, awesome. We're right around the same.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. If it had been as funny as they wanted it to be, this will be a 10 out of 10 movie, or maybe a 9.5 out of 10. I mean, I feel like on everything else, I mean, they hit the bullseye.
Yeah, it was as ridiculous as I wanted it to be. Like all these coincidences and the luck and all that was what I wanted from this movie. So for me, it's an 8.7 out of 10. Deducted for I would have trimmed the fat a little bit. The movie got a little long for my taste. Kind of seemed like it could have wrapped up a little bit sooner, but that's really about it. And
what would you have trimmed out? Like the conversations between Farsky and Hutch? Would you have trimmed out Brad Pitt's conversations with Sandra Bullock?
No, so towards the end, there was a scene where they were following a water bottle around. I would have cut that completely. There was a scene where Brad Pitt's talking to the grandpa, the guy that I really like. He's in a ton of movies, and I can't remember what he's in, but the dude's in so much shit, and he's fucking awesome. But I would have cut most of that. They were talking for seemingly like 5 to 7 minutes, and I would have given it about 2. But just things like that where I wouldn't have cut complete scenes with the exception of the water bottle. I would have just trimmed them down a little bit. Maybe this movie's 2 hours and 6 minutes. I would have probably maybe hour 55, hour 50, something like that. And it would have just felt more complete to me. But anyways.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of that is, I think the movie was a movie trying to be funny. Like when the old man sits down on the train and just looks at Brad Pitt. He's like, hey man, there's a whole train here. You want to move down?
Yeah.
Like that scene was very long. I'm like, okay, it's kind of funny, but like, okay, the joke's done. Please stop. Okay, now it's over.
Yeah. Exactly. And a lot of the humor to me was exactly what you said, kind of funny. I did get a couple of LOLs in the movie. You know, I laughed a little bit, but it was a lot of like like that kind of humor to me. So.
I would have I'd have to watch it again to really know if I would cut down on grandpa story time or not, because I think the funniest part when he's like, let me tell you a story, but I was like, no, I'm good. It's a very short story. No, I'm good. So anyway, my son was what I would have trimmed is the first like scene or two with our Starsky and Hutch characters, with our lemon lime duo, if you will. I don't know. I was bored of them. Like they improved as it went on, but like they need to get into something other than trying to be funny for those two a bit sooner. I was like, oh man, I'm really gonna be watching for these guys to die soon.
I loved their banter though, like back and forth. Like,
yeah. Okay, so you liked their banter a lot more than I did. I was not put off by it.
You were an 8. I was an 8.7. This is my 5th best movie of the year. We have had a lot of good movies this year. So Top Gun, The Northman, The Black Phone, The Batman, and then Bullet Train. It's a pretty solid fucking list. I got to start looking back through the years of movie releases and see if any hold up to these 5, because these movies were all fucking a lot of fun /
that might
great.
That might have been a really good thing to do next time we have maybe we could do it soonish because we're kind of in a dry spell for movies.
Yeah, that's true. So IMDb has 27,000 plus ratings for a 7.5 out of 10. Step your fucking game up, IMDb / people who are rating on IMDb. And so
half a point off from me.
We've had 5 days worth of box office revenue so far for a total of $68 million. And the production budget is $90 million. So within 5
Oh, man.
right? lower than you thought,
Brad Pitt
right?
must have wanted to do this one at a discount.
Yeah. In the first 5 days, they made Brad Pitt's salary back, $68 million.
Oh, I'm gonna rewind a little bit. So we talked previously about like, I talked previously. I don't remember if you cared at all about how like actors are like sometimes you watch an actor like this is just The Rock at a kindergarten. This is just oh look, James Bond is in the Old West. Oh look, the 12-year-old that plays Spider-Man is now playing
treasure hunting.
is now playing Charted.
Yeah.
Not Uncharted, Charted. Brad Pitt, I feel like I was watching like a different character. Like I was not seeing Tyler Durden from Fight Club on a train. I cannot think of another Brad Pitt role right now because he's not always playing the same character. What? None of those are those characters on a train.
Right.
I mean, he was recognizably Brad Pitt. That's just because they didn't do prosthetics or whatever. But like it was actual acting, I guess, or maybe they wrote it that way. I don't know the cause of it. I don't want to like say. I actually saw a clip of the Dwayne Johnson acting. He was not just being a different character. Like I think he can act. He just realized he just doesn't get paid to. He gets paid. I think they pay him extra to not act, but he can act. But like he's like so visibly him that like no, just get that guaranteed money in there. Don't go and try to win an Oscar or anything.
Yeah, do you think he starts acting and he's doing a British accent? They're like, what are you doing? This isn't the character we know from 750 other movies. That's what he probably tried to do for that shitty Jungle Cruise movie we saw. And they're like, no, just be Rock the Dwayne Johnson with a sailor hat or whatever the fuck he had.
I mean, I would really, yeah. Okay, you are Rock the Dwayne Johnson, but you also know like an Italian guy from 1,000 years ago. Do you think like he took that movie like, okay, there's no way this guy can be a Samoan bro? Like, okay, you're gonna be a Samoan bro on a boat? Like, no. Like when he's at home alone, he does like monologues from epic movies.
Yeah.
Like, and frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
They're like, Dwayne, we want you to play this character called Black Adam. What's his backstory? Well, he's a half Samoan guy who used to wrestle. Like, God damn it.
Okay, so I don't know who Black Adam is.
Uh-huh.
Like, I've never read the comic book. He hasn't shown up on the 5 episodes of Justice League I watched. But unless he is like so much like Rock the Dwayne Johnson in the way that Professor X was like Jean-Luc Picard,
yep,
the movie's gonna be a dumpster.
Yeah,
I guess that bit is out. Like, no, there is still acting. It's not all in my head. Yeah. The movies, it's not the kids. It's not me. It's the kids today. They're the problem.
Yeah, I agree.
And by the kids, I mean everyone who doesn't buy tickets to better movies.
Right.
Or people that buy tickets to bad movies. You can do that relationship however you feel.
All right. So on that note, we will catch you guys later.
Goodbye.